Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Uh, Today I live into 5th of Rabiul Akhir 1442, and it is 21st of November 2020. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, all subscribers, viewers, and those who have given findings, comments in my videos. I appreciate it so much, and I am truly honored to be here with you, to be able to share and share some of my experience and a little of my knowledge that I have acquired for the entire 35, 36 years by far in applied environmental management and sciences. This video, oh yes, please, I implore to all my Muslim counterparts, please do not watch this video if you are in a mosque attending Friday prayers or any religious lessons. Thank you very much. This video, I would like to share by linking safety, health, and environmental concerns from a process which is called arc welding. It is not so popular that all factories is using it, but at least in the construction, in the metal fabrication of buildings, and most likely in the automotive industry or any metal-based metal products, metal work may deploy arc welding. So in this video, we will try and take a look from this process. How is safety, health, and environment related? So I'll be showing you a picture. Sure. So this is arc welding. As far as my knowledge is concerned, it's a limited knowledge though. There are various types of arc welding. You have what? A laser arc welding. You have got what? Manual metal arc welding. You have got what? Gas metal arc welding. Many types. And I'm not the expert. And also, in terms of safety and health, I would also appreciate the findings or comments from experts in safety, health, and also industrial hygienists, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. If you are in a position or you are working for this sort of factories having this sort of activity, it is much appreciated. Your findings, your comments would enlighten myself and all other viewers, and I sincerely hope you would participate, and may God bless your sharing of knowledge to all the people who might need to know for the improvement of their life, their work, their careers, so that they are safe and working in a safe manner and able to establish a integrated management system consisting of safety, health, environment, and quality and security, etc., as one management system. So this information would help them enhance the establishment of such management system. So this is arc welding. This is a robotic arc welding, and we were doing an audit, and we were honored to be able to witness this, and we were not allowed to get close to it. We are in a separate corridor where it is. We were separated with glass window, and we can only observe from the glass window looking into this area or room, a large room, where arc welding is taking place. So we took this picture. Now, Before we talk about the environmental management perspective, let's talk about how safety, health, and environment is linked from this activity. As you can see, it's a lot of electrical energy. You have got the welding lead, you have got that what they call welding gun, and this is connecting two pieces of metals together, high temperature, high amount of heat, and a lot of electrical energy. So one of the environmental aspects that we would consider in this discussion, there are a number of environmental aspects involved here, but we will discuss only one for the sake of this management system, and I'll add in another two, so altogether three environmental aspects, and we'll take a look at the environmental management system later. Now, for this, when this welding is ongoing, all this like splinter, dust, solid, what they call dust particle or metal particles or small molten pieces of all this metal that literally explode during the welding. It spark off and it falls onto the ground, and from the molten state it gets solidified into sand like item that may pose, in my layman term, may pose some kind of potential safety concerns, and that would be potential hazards. All right, and that might the splatter itself, it's all over the floor. If human is walking down here, he might trip on these loose particles and might fall, and so that these particles is also a potential hazard. I asked a question during the audit: does human enter the room? The answer is yes, because they have got to change the what they call welding lead, they call it, and they've got to do some work, but not all the time. And as you know, this is high temperature, a lot of electrical energy, and there is a lot of fumes generated from this process, and that is a potential hazard. And also another potential hazard is due to the presence of gases, you may have sort of fire, because there was a past incident record of fire. It is related to this work, but one of the what they call flux item caught fire. There was some upset in the setting. I do not have the detail, but the potential hazard is fire. Also, this is another issue. It is about the UV radiation. Apparently, I was told, I didn't study this, I was told by the health safety manager and the internal auditor that accompanied us around during this audit. UV radiation or ultraviolet radiation is generated uh, during what they call this process. The visible arc produces the arc actually produces has got UV radiation, and apparently this is as I remember, this is tungsten kind of welding, and I did a little bit of research on tungsten because I don't have much knowledge about it, and apparently I found that the tungsten electrode that they use is made of materials like zirconium. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because I did only a few research, not much, and all this research confirmed that it is containing zirconium and thorium. I believe you know what that is. That is why I would say UV radiation. Okay, and this has got some radioactive properties, and it is apparently released in this room, in this air, and that's hazardous. That is why it's good to have robots to work here. And on top of that, the when the arc, when the welding arc interacts with oxygen here, ozone is being produced. That is another safety concern, is a potential hazard. And of course, there's a lot of electrical wires, cables around the area, high voltage. These are enough potential hazard for us to consider the level of danger that you have in this work. That is why it is a good point to have robots working for this particular process. Nonetheless, human is still needed because they got to do maintenance, they got to do replacement of some items like electrodes, perhaps like welding lead. I'm not sure about it, but I learned from them, and these are still basically manual. And these all these safety concerns is they are affecting causing some threat to human health in this manner, in the sense that it would cause ozone linked irritant. Apparently ozone is toxic, okay, and it can cause irritation. Please correct me if I'm wrong, industrial hygienists, you know better than I do. Please add things that I have missed out so that when people who are working in this activity read or saw this video, your input can be a benefit to them, please. So ozone related link apparently is associated to, according to my friend who's an industrial hygienist, we had a short discussion, linked to some form of pulmonary circulation, initially affecting the throat, the trachea area, a kind of like irritation sense, sanitization. I'm not sure with the word. You feel discomfort, irritation in the trachea, and also another symptom apparently is feeling like short of breath, things like that. And these are some of the symptoms that was told to me. Yeah, there you are. We've written down here respiratory diseases, put it in a general term. And well, electrocution can cause fatality. These are health concerns or human concerns, and this would cause an impact to the environment in this way too, because it can mobilize. It can lead to the mobilization of medical attention, and there's going to be a lot of medical stuff in this area, and it will be solid waste in the end, medical waste, and it would cause an environmental impact in another area, and vice versa. When the ambient, the internal environmental situation in this particular room, the ambient, the ubiquitous air, due to these processes, is having ozone, UV radiation affecting health, and if this person is working in such a manner in this area, he would be affected. The accuracy of his work will be jeopardized or compromised, and that would lead to nonconformance to safety procedures, and that would lead to accidents in this working area. It could be fire, it could be explosion, it could be electrocution, it could be damaging all other civil properties over here, and causes the respective environmental impact, okay, to the environment. So this is how safety, health, and environment is linked from my perspective, from my limited knowledge on this process. Now, the next one, let's take a look at the environmental management, see what we can have and what would be our potential intended outcome from here. So, as far as ISO 14001 version 2014 is promulgated that? The definition of EMS is managing environmental aspects by fulfilling compliance obligations and addressing risk and opportunity. So I have displayed before you those environmental aspects. We selected 3 for you. And also we discuss a little bit on the risk and opportunities all there. Now let's take a look at the first environmental aspect that might be interesting to us. Apparently, all these forms of spark, I would like to say that, the spark or the glowing splinter of all this, metal literally exploded, and it forms, when it cools down, it forms slags or perhaps splatter. And that is in this country categorized as SW104, talking about Malaysia. Okay, now it is an output. So what would be its associated potential environmental impact? Therefore, since it is an output, we are going to look at the downstream of its life cycle. What happens to it next? Therefore, this is clear that it has already caused some form of air pollution. Nonetheless, if it is going to perhaps a recycling plant, I believe most of these are recycled. They are going to put them in the furnace and burn them in the furnace, and that would cause emission of air pollutants of various composition and would lead to air pollution. And there are some residues involved generated from this so-called recycling, and that would also be sent to a secure landfill or perhaps sanitary landfill, and that would cause soil contamination eventually. That is how the splatter, the slags, interact with the environment. For the definition of environmental aspect is anything that interacts or can interact with the environment. Nonetheless, most of the recycling were able to capture or be able to extract valuable usable metals from the recycling work. Therefore, when materials are able to be recovered, the demand for fresh input or fresh supply of that particular matter or metal is, I wouldn't say less, is halted. And that would help reduce the rate of resource depletion. So we would call it an impact to the environment as resource conservation. We also have the next environmental aspect, which is electrical energy. A lot of power is needed for this, as you could see. They have got to burn it at high temperature, okay? Especially, when you use tungsten, and, you've got to have a high energy input and electrical energy as an input. As we look at its upstream, sorry, it is an input. So upstream of its life cycle perspective, meaning where it comes from, is where it interacts with the environment. And electrical energy, at least in this country, is from coal, okay? Bituminous coal-fired power plants. And these coal are from natural resources. The more coal we extract from the natural resource reservoir, the environmental impact would be resource depletion. And the mining of coal has caused changed in the structure of our Earth, and it is a permanent modification, then we would call it geological damage. Okay, so that is electrical energy as an input. We take a look upstream of its life cycle perspective. And another, yeah, we just have another one more environmental aspect here, which is the tungsten electrodes. It is a special material, and the tungsten electrode, why it is an environmental aspect, is it is interacting or interact with the environment. Therefore, as an input, we will take a look at the upstream of its life cycle perspective in order to determine what would be its associated probable environmental impact. It is coming from natural resources, rock structure, same thing as electrical energy as coal. So it causes the more demand for tungsten, the more demand for resources, and it can get depleted. Resource depletion is the environmental impact. And tungsten, based on what I found, it has like thorium, 2% of thorium in an arc welding process. Radioactive. Please enlighten me in the comments below. What type of radioactive wavelength? Alpha, beta, gamma? Please, if you know about this, especially radiation specialists, please give some input in this comment. Let us know. And the extraction of these resources would cause a permanent damage to the environmental structure of the earth. The resources itself, the rock structure, okay, that would be how tungsten electrode interact with the environment and causing those environmental impact associated to it. And let us discuss risk now associated to this activity. Let's choose red color so that it's clearer. Remember, this activity entirely are all legal binding because the factory has got approved, the machineries, the environmental control, the land, the building, the workers, everything has got legal liability. But when we talk about environmental management, that the part that has got the highest legal concern would be the fact that this environmental aspect, as far as environmental management is concerned, remember, compliance obligation. How do we manage environmental aspects by fulfilling compliance obligation? Is the fact that SW104 here, this particular material here, is a scheduled waste, and we have got to manage its recycling. So it is a closed loop movement of slags and splatter from this particular factory, which we call waste generated, to the recycler. And then where does it go? Is it to the open market or back to this factory? That are all governed with terms and conditions of approval that in environmental management system we need to comply, okay, to ensure there's no diversion, okay, from the main track of legal compliance. Another risk apparently is there's a lot of energy being consumed, and energy is being paid for, and there's a lot of energy. This company is paying energy for this process, and energy doesn't get cheaper. Okay, and we've got to look at these are all risks associated to this process. As environmental representative in EMS ISO 14001, we need to capture all this. Also, it is releasing fugitive inert gases, as mentioned earlier, things like ozone, fumes, and all this UV radiation. These are fugitive we could say gases. Um, okay, and these are risks as far as environment is concerned associated to this particular process. And what's the opportunity that we have, perhaps, if you have something else, better ideas or something else other than this, please add in, because my suggestion here is based on my own experience, and it worked very well. So there are all sorts of gases, including inert gases and especially volatile organic compounds. It is in the air. There's a still flux. And all these gases, I'm not sure about ozone, but all these gases is in the air, and there are many gases that is in this situation that can be absorbed by certain materials, and we would call it fume arrestor. Okay, and maybe coupled with a kind of special adsorbent, and maybe we have a suction hood placed there, and also maybe we can have this adsorbent placed just before, or at the LEV itself, of course with the help of some blowers, etc., and extract the gas out and release it to atmosphere prior releasing to atmosphere, passing through this kind of adsorbent. What I have used was in a glove manufacturing factory, latex and a petrochemical plant. We have devised, it's an innovation, it's not found as a product in the market, but we bought some adsorbent, including activated carbon, including zeolites. We modified, and we found that activated carbon adsorbed almost, well, virtually any sort of volatile organic carbons that we know, and it worked very well. So we don't have to have a scrubber, because when we have a scrubber, there's another problem. The gas scrubber will eventually be liquid wastewater also, okay, and wet scrubber definitely will have wastewater that would associate, or that would lead to the need of industrial effluent treatment system establishment, installation, and there's a lot of money. Okay, so we want to find effective, efficient, and economically viable technique in this arrest of environmental issues, and this should be addressed in environmental management system. So I hope your EMS steering committee would have at least a few expert technical people to give ideas on this, because if you depend on non-sciences, non-engineering background, non-chemistry background to be heading your steering committee in EMS, all that you would arrive to is cost saving, but not really looking into the technicalities which can spur higher level of cost saving. So that's about it. So thank you, YouTube, and thank you all for your attention, and I hope you would expand this knowledge further with your hands-on experience. Perhaps you're a consultant trainer somewhere, and with diversified experience on this, please add on, and in the column comments below. So I believe this is about it for this video. As Malaysian, I wish in bahasa Melayu, semoga dikurniakan kesenangan, keselamatan, kesejahteraan, kebahagiaan, dan kejayaan kehidupan di dunia dan di akhirat. And to all of you subscribers, viewers, and the YouTube team, I end this video by wishing you blessing from the Almighty Creator, and how I say it The wish goes like this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you in the next video, inshallah. Thank you.